evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. My name is Scott Morgan, Rock Motor City Mad Mouth. Boy, we have a lot to get to tonight in the world of Major League Baseball. We are talking baseball, playoff baseball. Candy Ebling will give us some updates as the show progresses, as well as the games that are over, as well as the one that will take place. And if she decides she wants to throw a Monday Night Football update in there, our crack researcher will definitely do it. Well, no, please, unfortunately, Mickey Callaway is under the weather tonight, but no problem. Hope Skip gets better and feels a bit better. We'll hold on to Fort and with a lot of great updates as well. Skip, we're thinking about you. Then again, we always think about you. With that said, there are five of us and a very good five, I'd say. Well, at least four plus me. So characterize me any way you want. Anyways, now I find out Rob Maraska is only about 7 8 months younger than I am. Scary thought. So that means Rob Maraska technically qualifies himself as being a John F. Kennedy baby. There are many of those. Unbelievable, Rob. Yeah, there are many of us, are there? All right. Anyways, glad to have Rob alongside of us.
Good to be back.
Katie Ebling.
It's great to be here. You know, playoff baseball, it doesn't get much better than this.
No, it doesn't. Eric Katz.
Oh, yeah. Always good to be here. I mean, you're at the most exciting time of the year for baseball in October.
And last but not least, George Eichhorn.
Hey, how you doing, everyone? Good to be back.
Well, we are talking baseball, playoff baseball. Let's get right to it. And that's this. We've got to talk about the Dodgers and the Phillies. I mean, think about this. In game one, saw Shohei Ohtani become the first pitcher and hitter to win a game. He pitched 6 innings while fellow Japanese reliever Rohei Suzuki held a 3-inning save. We'll call this a Japanese gem. All right, Rob, what's your take of about the Japanese gem with those two guys?
It definitely was a Japanese gem, and it was a smart move because that Dodger bullpen is troublesome, right? So that was a great move. Ohtani starts, and he gave up 3 runs, so he had a little shaky beginning. He wasn't great, but the combination was great. The Dodgers won, and of course, Ohtani at bat just he's amazing. So he's a key for the play for the Dodgers in the playoffs. I like that game. It was just a smart move what they did. It was a gem, definitely.
Well, one of the few games I didn't watch because in our household on these days we were filled with football candy. But anyways, when you put perspective, the Japanese invaded Philadelphia, and the city of brother love wasn't loving what was happening to them out in Japan. Candy.
Anytime a team gets a W, it doesn't matter how you do it. Whenever you get a W, it's great for your team. Like, however, in playoff baseball, whatever you do to get there, you're gonna do it to win. Whatever you can do. But yeah, it was great. George, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was to me, it was unusual. You typically don't see that in the postseason, as you guys know. Usually the bullpen relief, if you will, in relief, it's not normal that you see that with 3 innings being pitched. It's just a remarkable tribute to Japanese baseball, to those in America of Japanese descent or any Asian descent that are playing in baseball. They've done a great job, and you certainly have 2 of the best right there with the Dodgers. And to be able to come into Philadelphia like they did, a hostile crowd, and to be able to win that ball game, game 1, they did a hell of a job. Yeah, hats off to the Japanese pitching feat.
Eric, your thoughts?
I mean, this is a Dodgers bullpen that they're going to have to rely on their starting pitching to go deep, because I don't think that bullpen can hold up. It's had problems all year. They dropped all that money on Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott, and it hasn't worked out for them. And so they bring in Sasaki, who, because what else are you going to do in that situation? you roll the dice on it because it's worthwhile because you've seen what everybody else has done. And Roki Sasaki came through for him, and Ohtani, he got nicked around a little bit, but it was a job well done. They came in there and got the job done, and right now they got a 1-0 series lead on Philadelphia, and if they can just keep the momentum going, they'll be sitting real pretty going into Dodger Stadium for Game 3.
Yeah, definitely. Well, right now we have a game going. If you have the game on, the Phillies are making a comeback.
Talking about, I was just going to say something to you guys, and I'm sure you've heard the news. You want to give us a quick update on the score there, please?
Yeah, right now it's 4-3, and the Dodgers it's in a pitching change right now. So the Phillies Phillies have some life
like
left.
Just like you said, Eric.
Yep. I mean, the Phillies are built to bash. Trust me on that one.
Yeah. And here you go.
Are. And
here you go.
You can't count them out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and getting back to that first game again, I mean, there was that little controversy with Castellanos, whether he was going to play or not. And I see he's back in the lineup today. He had a big hit in this game. We'll talk more about that later, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Phillies look dead for the first 7 innings, right? And all of a sudden, and listen, they're in Philadelphia, so you can't count them out. That place is crazy. Mm-hmm. I've been there, Mets Phillies a bunch of times, and it's just that place it's crazy. Eric, you've been there, right?
No, I haven't, but I know for a fact, though, Philadelphia sports fans will come in all shapes and sizes, and the one thing they have in common, though, is they're all crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? That's a good one, Eric.
They're nuts.
Yeah, definitely.
And it goes to all the sports, exactly. Phillies, Eagles, Sixers,
the Flyers. You can everything. The 76ers.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, but there is no place in October like the bank.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
There's no. It's crazy there. Believe me, it's crazy there.
Okay. Hey, by the way, Chip Tarkenton, thanks for being there. I have a few technical issues on my part. Chip, I'll have to be reaching out to you soon, but I appreciate you coming in off of LinkedIn as well. And by the way, good job, everybody. I was having some technical issues of my own, but then again, George Ichiro has been my sidekick forever. Sure. I knew anybody would step up, it would be you for sure. Candy, I blink, thanks for your help. Chip, since I see you on LinkedIn, we need to have a conversation for another Motor City Bad Mouth show. So, all right, well, we appreciate you being on here as well. So, with that said, let's continue the narrative. Great job by you guys. I'm really impressed. So, as we go ahead and talk about this series, let's talk about Teoscar Hernandez, who actually leads the MLB before this was updated with 9 RBI in the postseason. Guess what? That total went up to 11 RBI in the last four postseason games. All right, Rob, take the narrative on this one. Teoscar Hernandez is doing some pretty good stuff.
Listen, he steps up in the playoffs. He hurt the Mets last year in the National League Championship Series. So that guy scares me. He turns it on, and in the postseason, he turns it on. And like I said, he's a scary batter in the postseason.
Candy?
Yeah, you got to watch out. I mean, wow, his bat is on fire lately. I'm gonna turn it over to Eric.
I mean, Teoscar Hernandez has always been a proven postseason performer. I mean, he definitely did some damage last year in the World Series against the Yankees. So, but he's picking up right where he left off. He loves the big stage, and he's coming through.
George?
Yeah, he's a bigger than life presence too, guys. The 6 foot, 215. And he has done a really good job. Former Blue Jay and former Astro. He bounced around, remember, quite a few times, and then Seattle too for a one season. But yeah, he's done a really good job for them. He has maintained, for the most part, good health. And like you mentioned, Eric, last year in the playoffs, the World Series, I mean, he was really damaging. 15 hits he had in the 2024 postseason. That's unbelievable. 16 Dodger games and 15 hits he had. So he was on fire last year, and it looks like he's picking up right where he left off, Scott.
Yeah, one of those types of guys that, like you said, George, great point. The first time I'd ever heard of Teoscar Hernandez was when he with the Blue Jays. Now you put him with the Dodgers, where they have more money, enough money to burn, and obviously he's getting rewarded with the jewelry for sure. Great points all the way around. All right, we'll continue the Blue Jays theme now that George brought it up, and we'll segue over to the fact that George Springer has tied Derek Jeter for 5th all time with 20 home runs in his postseason career. You know what? We'll start off with you, George. Good company for George Springer to be in.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, here's another fellow that I've always admired. I mean, I know he hasn't jettisoned into superstardom, let's say like Judge or somebody or Ohtani, but I tell you what, George Springer is a great, solid player. He's a good addition. Obviously, he's been a big help to the Blue Jays and what they've accomplished this year. Phenomenal. And to say that they're they got the Yankees number, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But just a great ball player. He's a good hitter, solid, and he's done a really good job here in the postseason in the first 2 games of that series. Yeah.
Eric?
I mean, he's a guy that you want in the postseason. And, he's a guy that, that any team will take at the top of their lineup. So either way, though, it's it's a good company to be in. Although the records, to be truthful, when they fall, they don't really have as much significance anymore because now they got more games to do it. It wasn't like back in the day with Jeter where the wild card would play in the DS. It'd be one wild card. You play in the DS and you'd have only so many games to do it. Now you got a wild card round, you got a DS, you got a CS in the World Series. So really, every time I see the records fall, I'm not really that impressed anymore just because you got more games to do it.
Candy?
Let's face it, he was the 2017 World Series most valuable player, hitting a record-tying 5 home runs as the Astros beat the Dodgers, back in the day. So now he's following suit. I'm like, his batting average overall is 266. That's not bad for a batter these days. He has over 1,480 hits. He's getting it done when he needs to, and that's what you want to see this time of year. As a batter, you want to see them come through and get hits at the right time.
Rob?
Yeah, and he did it against the Yankees. He tied Jeter's record, but like Eric said, it doesn't have the same thing, meaning because they play more games in the postseason. Everything gets extended. If you go back before the wild card and then they break records because there's so many more games now. So like Eric said, to me, it doesn't have as much meaning as it did, but it's still a great feat. I mean, come on, the guy's awesome in postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, for a guy that's a John F. Kennedy baby, okay, because from now on, I'm going to refer you as JFK Jr.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do. No, that's true. Because JFK, I'll just say JFK baby. Fair enough.
Okay, that's better. I
forgot J. No, I believe you, bro. It took me a little while to go ahead and get out of my delirious mind. JFK baby, because both of us are, okay, great minds think alike. It really is. Yeah, that record, you tend to wonder about the validity of it because there are a lot more postseason games than ever. But it's still worth noting anytime you can put yourself, George Springer, and Derek Jeter in the same sentence, it's at least worth noting that at least that much. I'll say that. So, yeah, I think so. Now let's talk about a great pitching performance that we saw so far from a guy by the name of Trey Yasavich. My gosh, look at these numbers: 5.1 innings, no runs. What is that? No hits. I think
no
it
hits.
was.
No hits.
Right, that's hard to believe, right? 1 walk and 11 strikeouts. Rob, surreal? Really? Seriously? Really? What do you think of that number, bro?
I'll tell you, the Yankees could not hit this kid. This kid looked great. That was a great thing. That was a great thing to watch yesterday. I'll tell you. No hits, all those strikeouts, and the kid, he didn't look like anything was bothering him. He was calm and cool, and he just had those Yankee bats fooled. It was a great performance.
Candy?
Pretty amazing. It just went final. The Dodgers did beat Phillies, just so everybody is aware, 4-3. The Phillies came back in the ninth, trying to make it more of a game, but the Dodgers did come through. So, but as far as, I mean, if you love pitching duel, that was it. That was a pitching performance. It's too bad Mickey's not on here because he would say he loved that pitching performance. I like hitting. I like to see, them get hits, but kudos to him for in such a clutch moment going up against the Yankees and all their firepower and, no hitting them. Good job.
That's all right. Mickey won't be dodging Trey Savage. You're savage, that's for sure. I just hope he's getting some good rest tonight, but the topic isn't going away that fast. Get some rest, Skip, because I'll savage you when you get back. Okay, Eric.
I mean, Yankees just couldn't figure him out. I mean, he had him fooled, particularly on the splitter all day, just dropping it left and right. The Yankees just could not figure it out, and they ultimately they couldn't really pitch either. So it was just a bad day all around for the Yankees, and right now their backs against the wall.
George.
Yeah, I mean, the kid really did a phenomenal job. When you think of his lack, he had no postseason experience at all, and his pitching was very limited, of course, late in the season. He really, really shined. He really did. 22 years old. And again, tall, lanky guy, 6'4". He really had it going, man. He really kept the batters contained, I tell you, and that's a ferocious Yankees lineup, as we know. So hats off to Trey. Yes, Savage. You've made a name for yourself, young man.
And by the way, Rob, on next Monday's edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk, I'm going to come up with a good J.F. Kennedy reference because I know what I know about you now. Okay, fair enough. Now you got my wheels turning. And boy, they are turning. Okay. But that said, we're talking about the Phillies, and that's it. They have obviously, going into the series, have defeated the Dodgers in 5 straight series. It doesn't looking number 6 isn't going to be easy, is it, Rob?
No. Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, repeat that again, Scott.
Yeah, going into the series, they had won 5 straight against the Dodgers in postseason.
Yeah, no.
6 is looking difficult now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, they're down. Listen, they're down two games to zip, right? They're going to LA. The Dodgers are going to win at least one in LA. So the Phillies are done. That's it. I love seeing this, but they're done.
You're just mad that they took the division from the Mets.
Well, what are you going to do? I'm glad that the Phillies are losing. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay, Eric. Go ahead. Now that you confronted them, you can continue the narrative here, and then I'll go to George and Candy.
Well, I mean, they're down 2-0. They just lost two. They just lost 2 games at home. I mean, they had an opportunity there at the end, but Nick Castellanos made a stupid base running mistake when the ball was bunted down the third base line and decided to go on it anyway. And Nick Castellanos is like just slow, but. They're going to Dodger Stadium, and man, it's just I don't think they can get back on track. They just can't seem to put it together. The offense seems that the narrative of them seems to be their offense seemingly dies in October. But no matter who they have, but I don't know. I mean, crazier things can happen, but man, it's on paper though. You're going to Dodger Stadium, and the Dodgers have all the momentum. It's not. I'm going to tell you, they're going to have their work cut out for them.
George.
Yeah, let's face it. Philadelphia, I thought, had a bit of an edge going in. 96 wins, winning the division. LA, of course, had 93. But like you said, Scott, the streak that was going as far as the Phillies was concerned, it's got to be so disheartening. I mean, their fans are rabid, as we know. We talked about that. They're an incredible fandom they have there. And there must be spitting tacks right now. But you got to go in with an attitude of we can take one game, as the saying goes, one game at a time. The Phillies are focused on the next game, Game 3, out at Dodger Stadium. It won't be easy, but who knows? Stranger things have happened in the playoffs.
Yeah, there will be nothing strange that happens here, and I'll tell you why. Great segue, Icorn. You're 2 for 2 tonight, man. You really are 2 for 2. Because now you set me up about as well as anybody can set me up here. Because I'll tell you, now that the Phillies went ahead, or down 0-2, it has happened for the first time since the 2007 NLDS. Icorn, since you went ahead and brought it up, now you can continue it. 0-2 for the first time since 2007.
That's a lot of years. Okay.
You think?
I
Stay on a
in
roll, Icorn,
2007.
before I really seriously you
Yeah.
off the air.
Yeah. Well, I
A
don't
lot
know
of
more.
years.
Yeah, I just 2007. It's a while back, and we got a situation here now. Like I said, Dodgers fans are going crazy. Fans in Philly are not. But it's look at the Yankee situation. We'll talk about that in a second. But they're also down 0-2.
Well, stay on point, you stick to man. I just gave you a nugget of 2007. I'm not talking about a chicken nugget, you knucklehead. I'm talking about the fact that all you've given me in this
It's
display.
18
Now
years
you're
ago,
wait,
Scott.
time out, stick to
I
man.
don't remember.
Wait, I don't want to hear it.
Ago.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna post something on you that I deal with it. Shut up, Mike Thorne. Shut up. Now, I'll tell you why I'm telling you to shut up. I'm telling you to stay on point, you sick to man. Shut up. Now go back to what I told you, 2007. A lot of years. Call out your stupid calculator, sick to man. How many years has it
You
been?
said it was 18.
18.
Good enough. All right, get back on the right track, you knucklehead. I feel like Sergeant Carter when it comes to dealing with you, Icorn. You were 2 for 2. You couldn't have a perfect game, although I have to give you props earlier when you took over like you did many, many years ago. Okay, but go. Get it figured out, you sick
What do you want me to say about it, Scott?
There's much more you can say except try to listen once in a while.
You had a good comeback. I applaud you for that comeback.
All right, well, good. I'll tell you, I think Rob is having a lot of fun watching the two of us go at it because you don't realize what like back in the old school days when we beat each other up, and Icorn never won any of them anyway. I was too fiery and spunky to begin with. He was the one behind me slamming the paper on my teacher's desk because he got some published and was a man of his word. Anyways, no, George, with all due respect, getting back on track, that's the first time since 2007 that they're down 0-2. This is a huge hole, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes. Very
good enough.
Big haul.
All right, good. Quit while you're ahead because we have more to talk about. Let Eric see if he can do better than you. Then won't take much anyways. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I mean, you got to remember at the time with the 07 Phillies, they were just you got to remember who they had in their lineup. They had Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Pat Burrell, late in his career, but still, Pat Burrell still had a nice year, and then Shane Victorino. I mean, they got something similar going right now with Harper and Schwarber and Trey Turner. So, we'll see how it goes though. It's gonna be a tough hill to climb.
See, Icorn, that's what I was looking at you, man. This my boy wonder, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard. Now what are you? Never mind. We have more show. We got to get you through this show after all the ribbing you're going to take. Come on, Rob, save this guy from himself, Icorn. But I'll have to save Eric. He's doing good.
Listen, 0-2, this is a big hole. They're definitely not climbing out of it. And those are two different teams. This team is a team of chokers. Yes, that's right. I said that. In the postseason, this group of Philadelphia Philly players choke.
What's that make the Mets during the regular season who couldn't even?
We're not talking about the Mets, and we're not talking about the regular season. We're talking about the Philadelphia Phillies in the postseason.
Nothing like a good boxing match on the air. Now I got Rob and Eric.
The Mets didn't even make the postseason. Let's keep that perspective before you start.
We know that
choking sign.
This has nothing to do with the Mets. We're talking Phillies postseason. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, we know the Mets. I'm the first to admit it. The Mets choked. The Mets blew it. Yes. I know that, and I'm not going to
get out this guy's back. He's going to get punished enough in the next several weeks with some of this Mets stuff. I just don't have room for it tonight.
But no, this Phillies team is not going to climb out of this hole.
Eric, man, I'm telling you, brother, there'll be more stuff. Don't torture this guy tonight with Mets stuff.
I'm not
There's too much to get. No, I'm saying Eric, not toward you. I'm defending you, Rob.
Thank you.
I'm a better bodyguard than Rosie Greer was for Robert F. Kennedy.
Careful now.
For you tonight, man. We're on the Kennedy thing tonight. All right, Candy. Trying to make some sense out of all this. Thanks a lot, Fernando. Appreciate you being on in the chat room.
The one thing I'm reminded of is that yes, 0-2 is a steep hill to climb, especially since you went 0-2 at home.
Yep.
But I think, honestly, that more pressure was on Philly. And I think they need to somehow figure out how to relax, because I think they're trying and they're pushing too hard and pressing too hard. And that's why their bats aren't, free flowing. And you talk about these veterans that are in there, and yeah, Rob, to your point, they're like choking. They're not hitting. Where is Schwarber and his home runs and his, um, previous on your other show, Scott, you guys were talking about Bryce Harper, how you hope he gets, one. What happens if he doesn't get one? Honestly, I'm hoping for my team's sake that he doesn't get one, because that means that my team doesn't get there. But we're not talking about them right now. We're talking about the Phillies. Can they do it? Of course they can come back. We've seen other teams go down 0-2 and come back. Is it easy? No, not at all. Can they do it? You bet they can. But they've got to dig deep to do it.
Well, they had, as they always say in the NFL, one game at a time. But boy, if that ever you talk about what you've got to do, no question about it. And for those of you that our first show was a professional people, we had Argentine Gringo on with Eddie Prater. What a show we had there. So I hope you can see that. That always comes before 108 Stitches Baseball Talk as well. We talked a lot about the Phillies. So if you want your Phillies, that's the show to get it. Let's go back to the Yankees. And somehow, some way, maybe we can get Eichhorn to rebound on this. But their pitching staff didn't make it through customs. In game 2, they lost 13-7. Then in game 1, they got smoked 10-1. My goodness, Eichhorn. We know about customs back home in Detroit, right? The Detroit Windsor Tunnel. What happened to the Yankees pitching when it got to Canada?
Oh, you're not kidding. 10 runs, then 13 runs. It's just incredibly bad right now for the Yankees pitching staff. No question about it. The starters and the relievers, they're on life support right now. I mean, it's a tough situation there because, you got to work with who you got, as the saying goes, in the bullpen. And unfortunately, doesn't seem to be enough to contain these red hot hitting Toronto Blue Jays. I would have never guessed they'd be down 0-2 right now, but when you can't get anybody out, when you can't score enough runs offensively, I mean, this is what happens. But yeah, the customs, they needed to get some clearance for some more pitching or something over there. It's not a Yankee performance by any stretch that you want to remember so far.
Now he's back on the right track. I knew there was hope for you on this show after all,
Thank
but
you.
I'll still. And if you keep saying, I'll say there's hope. If you screw it up, I'll call you a dope. But right now, I'm not calling you a dope on this segment. You rebounded all right, Eichhorn. All right, go ahead, Eric.
I mean,
pitching staff.
I mean, it fell apart. I mean, their biggest problem is it's not the same as it was against the Red Sox in the wild card round, because in the wild card round, it was pretty good. I mean, the offense, the other problem working for the Yankees right now is their offense hasn't woken up yet. In game 1, they had an opportunity. They really should have been able to tie up that game at least. Granted, I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, but it definitely would have swung the game a little bit. But they only managed to get 1 run off despite having no outs with the bases loaded. Come on. You got to, but the pitching staff just hasn't been able to hold it together. And right now they're coming back to the Bronx with their tail in between their legs. And it's not a good situation to be in, especially a team that's as hungry as Toronto. So their pitching staff really has to get it together, because that was the big concern that they had was how would it hold up. And right now it's the nightmare that everyone thought would happen is happening right now when it matters most against the Blue Jays.
Rob.
They had trouble getting through customs. It looked like to me that they never made it through customs the way they pitched.
Go back.
Fried pitched good. Usually Fried doesn't pitch well in the postseason, but he pitched good against the Red Sox. He had a good game against the Red Sox. Thought he was over that. But, man, it looked like he was throwing batting practice against the Blue Jays. It was horrible. And the bullpen, listen, their pitching staff right now is in a mess because Toronto just beat them up both Game 1, Game 2. They're going to go back to Yankee Stadium. Probably, the Yankees are probably going to come back and take the third game in Yankee Stadium. But I think that might be it. But they got to get this pitching staff together because they looked horrible.
Yeah, let me give you a little words of wisdom to Anthony Savino if he's watching it. I told you so, sick them, Ed. I told you Toronto was pretty good. Anthony Savino, still love you. Look forward to seeing you at Port St. Lucie, but I nailed you anyway. So, all right. So just tell Anthony, send my regards and tell him, hello, Toronto. Okay. No. Or shame, as Gomer Pyle would say. All right, Candy, make some sense out of all this.
So what I'm going to say is New York and New York media are always under pressure. Let's face it. That's the one thing we're going to say is that New York pitching is under pressure. The Blue Jays they're playing loose. They're up there, getting up there. They're batting, they're hitting. When a team is so tight, and I think that's one of the things that like Pat Murphy has talked about on his team is that to keep them loose and friendly. And I don't think New York has that right now. And I think the pressure is on them because everybody expects them with their payroll and with, come on, it's the Yankees, that they should be performing and they should always win. Well, it doesn't always happen. And sometimes you put too much pressure on yourself, too much stress. You try too hard and the other team is playing loose and look what they did. Hitting barrage.
Well, I was going to sit here and blame Aaron Boone no matter what. He can't win in this whole thing no matter what happens. And I'll tell you, if the Yankees ever let him go, Aaron Boone will not have a difficult time finding employment. I'll tell you that. Max Fried is a heck of a pitcher. He really is. And the fact that they picked up in the offseason, that was a really good pickup. Eric, you want to add to that?
Yeah, they're not going to fire him. They gave him a contract extension last year where he's got a guaranteed year next year. So the Yankees are not going to pay Aaron Boone not to manage. I mean, I think he gets a lot more crap than he deserves some of the time. Some of it, I think, goes back to Brian Cashman in some sense, who the Yankees will never get rid of him. And Boone, if they fire Boone, he'll have a job tomorrow. I guarantee it. As a matter of fact, he might actually be a lot more comfortable in that job because he's not having to deal with the swath of New York media that Rob and I both know very well that seems to maul our teams on a daily basis, both in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening.
Yeah, no question. Everybody said their piece or not? That's something I forgot. Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's talk about the Cubbies. Now they have a score in there, and that's this. And Shota Imango faces the Brewers in his first start in his postseason career. So, some thoughts, Candy, about Shota?
Well, let's see. He gave up a single to Contreras, a hit to Yelich, and then Vaughn homer to left field to start. I mean, let's face it. The Cubs started the barrage because let's face it. Last game, Milwaukee was hitting and hitting. Yep. Tonight, Cubs came up. Suzuki hit a home run, scoring 3. So the Brewers had to, match that because they're playing loose. They're playing, they're playing for Bob Uecker, to be honest with you, and they're all doing it. And so, and they're having fun doing it. So, I mean, kudos for a pitcher to start, but to already give up, but both sides already gave up 3 runs.
Yeah, tough start for sure for Imango and Monago. All right, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, the Cubs had a 3-0 lead, and it's gone already. So we see what happened in his first game. But the Brewers are playing, like Candy said, they're playing loose. They're, they look like they don't have any pressure on them, and the Cubbies have pressure on them right now. Losing the first game. This is happening at Wrigley Field too. So The Cubs are playing under pressure. The Brewers, on the other hand, they're just going out there and having fun, and you could tell.
2 words describe what you just said, Rob. House money.
They are in Milwaukee, though. Rob. Just so you know, they
Oh,
are.
yeah. I was talking. Yeah, they're in Milwaukee. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's
I
okay.
mean, game
Yeah.
three will be in game three will be
Yeah.
in Chicago.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. They're in Milwaukee. Yes,
No big
you're
deal. House money, Rob. Okay, so you
Yeah.
got 2 Kennedys, you got house money, you're good. Okay, Eric.
I mean, let's be honest. Pat's boys know how to fight. They've done this all year. Some of you sitting here got to experience had some nightmare experiences with Pat's.
Wait, Eric, you went mute. Something
hear
happened to
me?
your microphone.
How about now? Good. Sorry.
Yeah.
Pat. I was going to say some of you got to experience the comeback crew this year, and this is what they do. They're a tight knit team. They know that it's the great thing about it is none of them, except with the exception of maybe Yelich and maybe and Contreras a little bit, they're not superstars. They're very like, I think the best comparison I can say is they're very Patriot-like, where you have good players all over the diamond. You don't just have about a couple superstars and then a bunch of mediocre to good players. They got good players all over the diamond. I mean, this year I think, and also Pat Murphy knows how to mold that team. I mean, he's very good with the players, and he knows how to get the best out of them. I mean, it's always even when they went on that long win streak, I think it was 14 games, they didn't even have Jackson Churro in the lineup, who's the young kid that they signed for a long time, who they got at a bargain, by the way. This team knows how to they know how to play, they know how to fight, and the fact that they know going in that they are not favored, it just adds that more fuel. It just adds a lot more fuel to the fire. And also, they know how to come back, though. They will make you play their style of baseball, and if you're trying to match up with them that way with their energy, good luck.
And by the way, you mentioned Jackson Churro. Is he in the lineup? I know he had a hamstring, so
Yep.
he is in the lineup. Good. I'm
Yep.
glad that injury wasn't serious, because in that first game, I think he had a record 3 hits in the
3
first
RBI.
2 innings. He had a lot off with a double. This Jackson Churro is a special player. We got to see him in person initially last year over at Miller Park, American Family Fields, whatever you want to call it. So this kid's a special young talent. I'm glad the Brewers were able to lock him up for a while. All right, George.
Well, yeah, Shota. I mean, when you look at his record, and he was outstanding. Remember in 24 with 15-3 record. And this year, this past season, of course, this current season, 9-8. So I mean, the teams are batting better against him than they did a year ago, which means the scouting reports are all in everybody's hand. We all know that. For him to come in and then give up the 3 runs already, yeah, it's not a good sign, because you don't have and you can't have a long leash in the postseason, whoever your pitcher's at. And especially when in this case, they both gave up 3 runs in the first inning. But the fact of the matter is that the Cubs do not have as strong a lineup as Milwaukee does. And Milwaukee is going for something that has eluded them for so long.
Yep.
And the Brewers are really on a streak. But I'll tell you what, the Cubs have had a good year. They finished 5 games behind in the race for the division. And now let's see what happens. But I'm not giving up on them. No, heck no. But as far as the starting pitching goes, both teams struggle in that first inning, like you said, Candy, with 3 runs each.
Scott, can I add one more thing?
Sure.
I think one of the interesting storylines between this series also has to be with the 2 managers, because Pat Murphy actually managed Counsell back in the day when he was at Notre Dame. And then obviously Pat Murphy took a backseat to Counsell, because Counsell was the manager for the Brewers for how many years. So now for Counsell to be managing the Cubs and Pat Murphy to be managing the Milwaukee Brewers, I think that puts an interesting dynamic on this too, because they know each other very well.
Well, you're going to say that. Let's say the fact that one thing missing is first time that the Cubbies and the Brewers have ever met in the postseason as well. So great comment, Candy. I just want to back it up with what I had to say. Thinking of the Brewers, who are looking to go up 2-0 in this postseason series. If they do, it'll be the first time it's happened since 2018 NLDS. Candy, continue that narrative.
Oh yeah, I mean, the Brewers. The Brewers, the one thing that's eluded them, they were one of 3 teams that started this playoff that have not won a World Series. The Seattle Mariners, Milwaukee Brewers, and the San Diego Padres. Well, the Padres are no longer. Seattle is still alive.
Yep.
We know that they're, in battle with the Tigers. But that's the one thing that the Brewers have eluded them.
Yep.
And so they've compared this team with some of the other teams from before. And I hate comparing teams until it's all said and done. But right now, what they have said is that this team loves each other and like they're best friends, and they do like so many things together that they want to. It's not about me and what I can do; it's what I can do to help the team and everybody around us. That I think that it's just a very special team. And yes, back in 2018, did they have a good record? Did they do well? Yes, but did they get where they wanted to go and finish it off? No, they did not. They got beat. And we don't want to tell you, I don't even want to talk about who beat them, but let's, I'm just hoping that a different end result happens this year.
Rob.
Yeah, well, they had the best record in baseball this year, right? And they're playing, like I said before, they're playing like they don't have any pressure on them. So they're having fun. And what Candy said, when clubs mesh like this and they enjoy hanging out with each other, because you have clubs that win that couldn't stand each other. Like if we go back to the Oakland A's in the 70s, fighting with each other, they won 3 World Series in a row, but, they didn't get along. So this team's getting along, and you could tell they enjoy playing. They enjoy playing the game together. They enjoy hanging out, and they have a good chance, Candy. You may see, your first World Series win this year.
Great. You know what, Rob? I like what you said. That's where our age comes in nice and gracefully. Okay. Guys like you and I can remember the 70s A's.
Yeah, but you know what else it also does? It affects our memory a little, like before with the Brewers and the home. But, it's like, you try to get something out and then you forget what you're going to say. So that's the downfall.
Don't even go there. Everybody, I don't care what age you are. We all do that, Rob. Give yourself a break. I'm not going to really seriously you, because that happens to everybody on this one. All right, but I will the guy wearing that Tribune hat, Eichhorn.
Well, the Brewers, their postseason history has been very checkered, to say the least. And Candy, for all the reasons that you mentioned, them playing together and the whole thing with the manager and the Bob Uecker passing away. I mean, there's a lot of things going for them. And you're right. I mean, that stat is obvious. They've never won the World Series. And you've been in the league since the Seattle Pilots moved after one season to Milwaukee. And then you switched leagues even. You used to be in the American League, and now you're in the National League. Yep. A lot has gone on. And, of course, the great Hank Aaron, we'll never forget that, when the Milwaukee Braves, of course, were there. But the thing is that there's nothing stopping a team that has that kind of camaraderie, that has the kind of kinship and fellowship that you describe. I mean, the sky's the limit, as they say. The ceiling is very high for the Brewers going into this series. I see a little bit of that in the Tigers. Every team's got a little bit of, but the thing is Milwaukee. You've been waiting and waiting and waiting. That city's been waiting for a long, long time. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'd be surprised if they don't make the World Series this year.
Well, they're looking awfully good. Eric? Yeah.
I think
you have the last word on this one.
I mean, I was at 3 of those playoff series that they unfortunately dropped. I was at the one in 2021 where I thought that team had a chance to get to the World Series because they had 3 number ones in Woodruff and Peralta and Corbin Burns the year he won the Cy Young Award at the time, and they just couldn't get it done because their offense died at the wrong time. And then the other 2 times they just I can't really explain what happened there, but this year I feel like they just have that balanced team. Like this year, I mean, I don't really like comparing teams because all of them are different. All of them have different challenges. All of them have, all the stories coming from those years are unique and different. So it really, so you can't really compare them just because all of them are different in terms of, because they're all good. All those playoff teams were both good in their own way. But This one just feels different. I mean, you bang off 11 wins in a row at one point. You bang off 14 wins in a row at one point, to the point where you gave the entire city free burgers for an evening. Although I will pick Cops over George Webb any day of the week. But it's just like, it's just this year. I feel like they have the it factor more than they have had any other year. I mean, they just won a franchise record 97 games. I mean, that it's hard to that's hard to do. It's hard to win in this league. I mean, especially because baseball is played so periodically.
Great point, Eric. Because you like you said, they won a franchise record 97 wins, and that's what earned them the opening round bye for sure. So I'm glad you brought it up, because I'll tell you, sometimes these teams could use a bye going into the next round to rest their pitchers and all. And I'm glad that you brought that up, Eric. Nobody has to elaborate on that, but let's face it, they're down 3-0, and what do you think? Like say a Suzuki, they match his blast with a 3-run blast of their own. So great stuff there. We'll continue the baseball scenario with Detroit. Then we're going to go off for a station break. Kerry Carpenter's final word to the Cleveland Guardians. We heard a lot about your 15.5 games, but we're going to Seattle, and they're not. The Detroit Tigers had lost 5 straight series going into the playoffs, but won the one that mattered the most, and that was in the wild card series. What's painful is back in 2017, Arizona drafted Tarek Skubal, but he didn't sign and return to Seattle for another year, Seattle University, that is. And now he's back in Seattle, and he had a 14K night against Cleveland, looking to defeat the Mariners. You talk about a storyline that's come full circle, Rob. The guy goes back to Seattle. He had a no decision last night, looked awfully good. I don't have to get into the logistics of the Tigers. Obviously, he came back to tie it 2-2, but lost it later on. George, we'll get into that a little bit later, because I know you're going to be at Game 3. But what are your thoughts about Kerry Carpenter's comment, Rob? I mean, let's face reality. The Tigers were laughed at. We talk about the collapse, but the Guardians aren't playing, and the Detroit Tigers are, and they've lost 2 games. They played 2 games with identical 3-2 scores. Came up on the short end of one and came up on the positive end of the other. So Kerry Carpenter obviously was a factor in that first game with a 2-run shot of his own. Wasn't able to produce any major offense yesterday, but Kerry Carpenter said a lot of good things, didn't he, Rob?
Yeah, well, it's true. The Guardians are done. They're finished. The way the season went, it looked like Detroit. Detroit almost almost choked. They lost the division title. I don't even know how that happened. It was unbelievable. It was like a tale of 2 seasons. The first part of the season, second part, but that doesn't matter. Once you get into the postseason, everything is clean. The slate is clean, and you know what? The Tigers won that series, and he's right. And Cleveland went home.
Well, the reality is, Rob, what you say is right. The Miami Marlins only had 4 winning seasons in their history. 2 were wild card bursts, and all they did was produce 2 world championships. Say what you want about the Marlins and the fact that they haven't had a lot of success in the regular season, but they do have at least 2 world championships in their pocket. And the wild card round matters a lot, Candy.
The only thing that matters about the regular season is getting to the playoffs.
Right.
It doesn't matter what your record is, because you don't carry your record into the postseason. So as long as you do enough to get in, it doesn't matter. Yes, did we think the Tigers were going to coast in earlier in the year? Yeah. But every team goes through ups and downs and droughts. And like Eric was saying, the Brewers had a winning streak, but they also went through some times when they weren't doing as well either.
Mm-hmm.
It's true of every team. The thing you want is you want to be playing hot baseball in October. That's what you want, and that's what matters. And right now, how hot are the Cleveland Guardians? Oh, they're hot sitting at home because they're probably drinking Mai Tais and who knows on vacation. But right. The Tigers are actually still playing baseball, and that's what matters.
And what matters is that Kerry Carpenter told them straight, right, Candy?
You bet.
All right, Mr. Detroit, what are your thoughts about Carpenter's comments?
I like them. I mean, it's about time some of these guys spoke up a little bit like that. I mean, they've been beat up tremendously all September, about blowing that big lead. It was
Right.
really rough on the players personally. I'm sure it was rough on them in the clubhouse as well. And I think Carpenter is a leader on this team. To me, he's more of a leader than Green is, and Carpenter certainly has a sweet home run swing. I think that the Guardians, they peaked when they had to. Detroit, unfortunately, did not. But the thing is that they still didn't make the playoffs. Like you said, Rod, the Guardians, excuse me, are home, and the Tigers are not. I think that they have nothing to be ashamed of. The Guardians, what they pulled off is baseball history. But then it didn't continue in the playoffs, and that sting is not going to go away easy. It's not going to go away at all for Cleveland fans. But here we are. We're here. Yeah, Carpenter is a good guy. He's a very good guy. He's a very strong leader, and I think he said the right thing at the right time. That team needed to hear that.
I agree with you. He does have a great home run swing. I love watching the guy make contact with the ball. Eric?
I mean, I was hoping somebody on that team would speak up. I mean, because no one else did. I was a little surprised it wasn't a little more than that, but here's the thing, postseason success always erases regular season sins. I mean, even if you're a player and you didn't have the year that you wanted to have, you can easily erase whatever you did during the regular season, the postseason, by having those heroic moments. And that's what the Tigers did. During the year, did we think they'd cruise into the postseason? Absolutely. But I mean, sure, Cleveland got them at the end, but what'd they get out of it? Just add another year where they won the Central, sure. But it's just Detroit put it all together when it mattered. I mean, we've seen teams who just absolutely fall down the slide in the second half, go on and win the World Series. That happened just 2 years ago with the Texas Rangers.
All right, you know what? We're going to go to a non-sports topic. We have one tonight because there's a lot of baseball to get to. But we're getting to the point where we'll go to a non-sports topic, go to a station break. So get this. In Iceland, beer was illegal until 1989. My gosh, Rob, beer was illegal until 1989. Guess they're not playing baseball up there, are they?
I think that's the real reason why the population is small in Iceland, actually, because of that. That's an amazing fact. I mean, 1989. What happened if they had a beer? Did they get fined? Did they get put in jail? And was their beer available anywhere on the black market?
I don't know. I didn't go that far in my research. All I'm telling you, it wasn't available until 19. That doesn't mean they didn't have liquor. I'm just talking about beer. Remember, beer, not liquor. But worth noting, anyways. Great question, though. But they say they don't play baseball up in Iceland, anyways. I think they play soccer out there. I'm trying to remember. I have to go back to my memory. But I'll go to my wife instead. What are your thoughts, Candy, about beer, Iceland, and liquor? They had it.
When I think about Iceland, I'm kind of surprised because you think of like Ireland, and Ireland's not that far from Iceland. And we think of Guinness and beer from Ireland, but Iceland is this beautiful country. But I wonder like how populated it is when it gets really, really cold. Like everybody wants to go visit it, in the great months. It's beautiful, but in the dead of winter, are they sitting there and let's have a cold beer, or are they having a hot toddy? I mean, let's face it. I will say, Scott, just to kind of twist what you're talking about, there are still some countries where beer is illegal or highly restricted. Just to add to your beer was not sold, in Iceland until 1989, but
that will stay on point. But I agree. I'm sure a few of them don't like the beer, no doubt about it. All that good stuff. All right, Eric.
I mean, how do you like? I mean, I could assure you that that most Wisconsinites aren't going there because we got plenty of beer to go around here. And trust me, if you touch our beer, you touch our beer with whatever hands you have, you're not gonna get them back. But I'm sure they had wine and hard liquor, right? I mean, you can't restrict The man needs alcohol some days out of the week to go to take the edge off. I mean, but they would have to have something in there. As far as those countries who restrict their beer, well, I can guarantee you're not going to get that many people from Wisconsin coming in there because we don't like it when there's no beer, and we got plenty of breweries around here to make to help somebody's local economy over there. I promise you.
All right, George.
Well, that is amazing. I mean, beer is such a great beverage for a lot of people, alcoholic beverage. I mean,
Right.
it has been for so many years. And like you said, Candy, just a little ways away from them with Ireland and all that. And England loves their pubs too, their beers. It is very unusual that they waited that long. It does seem a little bit odd. I could have something to do with maybe other factors, religion or something. I don't know. But there was no way that we'd have a beerless area at all here in the United States. But Iceland, yeah, it's a very unique country. I'm so glad you guys had a chance to go there.
And
My late cousin Michael was in the Air Force, and he was stationed at Reykjavik, and he always told me how great it was there. So, but without the beer. So he didn't get any beer either, and he was in the service on the.
That's terrible.
Oh, Candy said, "Hang on for something."
So I wanted to say that they lifted the ban on March 1st, 1989. Now it's celebrated annually as Beer Day in Iceland.
well, I'll just say this before we go to station break. I have a lot more Iceland stuff I'm going to throw on here. I think I really like bringing it on a Monday night show, so I'm going to do that because Iceland is one of the best places I've ever been to, and I've been a lot of places for sure. But that said, I am going to a station break. That's where we led into the station break with an Iceland reference. We'll come back. We'll talk more baseball.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and the foreword was written by George Eichhorn. Talks about Scott's 40 plus years in the media industry and how it has evolved and changed. Old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great other content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to our channel. Honestly, what are you waiting for? Just do it. Click it like a sheriff, and then turn on your notifications so you're notified and every time we go live. We produce some really great content, so don't miss it. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to be late to the show. If you want to subscribe or if you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have topic ideas you want us to cover and you can't be in the chat room, email us, southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Watch for the great programming that we're going to have later this week. Some great stuff in the pipes. Don't miss it. Back to you, Scott.
All right, well, we're back talking more baseball. We've talked a lot about what's gone wrong with the Yankees, but let's talk about something that actually went right with them. The legend of Cam Schittler ousts his hometown team, the Boston Red Sox, with an 8-inning performance with 12 strikeouts, no walks, as the Yankees ended up punching their ticket to the ALDS. Now, when we got to the ALDS, we're not going to talk about what happened. We've already done it, but he only yielded just five hits, and the Yankees are the first team under the wild card format to lose game one and win the series. So, again, we talked about what was wrong, but here's what was right. So, Rob, some thoughts about the legend of Cam Schittler.
Hey, he pitched a great game. That was a great game. The Yankees needed that against the Red Sox. And the Red Sox, that he grew up a Red Sox fan. So, I wonder what that kind of feeling that is if you make the major leagues and you're on the Yankees, who you've hated your whole life, and now you're a Yankee and you're in the postseason against the team that you loved all your life. and you won. That's got to be amazing.
Yeah, that is surreal. Eric?
Well, first off, all I got to say is good, because again, there's nothing better in life. There's one of the best things that can happen to a Yankee fan, besides winning the World Series, is eliminating the Red Sox in some form or fashion. Either you send them home for October, or you kick them straight out of October. And there was nobody more excited than yours truly when the Yankees took out the Red Sox. I mean, Ken Schiller was just dominant. I mean, he etched himself in Yankees and perhaps Yankees and Red Sox lore, that's for sure, by striking out 12. I mean, he had a postseason moment right there that the Yankees have had a lot of great players come through there, and I can assure you a bunch of them did not have the type of performance that he had against the Boston Red Sox. But good for him. I mean, he's clearly earned his pinstripes, and I think next year he's going to have a bigger role in the starting rotation next season.
George?
Yeah, he did come out of nowhere, really. It's incredible. I mean, he did a great job. That clinching game was just unbelievable. And, he in 2024, he led all the Yankee farm hams in strikeouts. So you knew the potential is there, obviously, for this young man. But to be able to come into that situation, like you said, a native of Massachusetts and the dreaded Red Sox you're facing on the opposite side. I mean, just an incredible pitching performance. What a great high for him. Moving this quickly along from his days in the minors and the college ranks. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it really is. And it was a hell of a game, a hell of a pitching performance. Hats off to Cam Schlittler, number 31 in your scorebook. 24 years old? Wow. What a great throw. But now the pressure is on, obviously, now in the next round. He can do it again.
Yeah, what a remarkable story he is. Sometimes
Yeah.
these younger pitchers come up with some of the best storylines, and this guy, I think the Yankees have a good find here with Cam for sure. Yep. All right, well, let's stay with the Nets.
Wait.
I was going to get to you. Go ahead.
The Yankees selected him in the 7th round in 2022.
Wow.
He signed with the Yankees, receiving a $205,000 signing bonus. Okay, let's be very clear. A season-ending injury to Clark Schmidt caused the Yankees to promote him, and he major league debut on July 9th, 2025. His fastest pitch was 100 miles per hour, which is the fastest thrown by a Yankee pitcher all season. Okay. He became the first pitcher in postseason history with 8+ scoreless innings, 12+ strikeouts, and no walks. Think about that. The first pitcher in postseason history. How long have we been, postseason been going on? And he's this young kid that they brought up from the minors. He started the year in AA, went to AAA in June, and then the major leagues in July. What a year he's having.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what does that tell you about the Yankees? Okay. The reality is they develop players like no other. I'm living proof of that. I covered them with the Fort Lauderdale Yankees my first go-around. I know how the Yankees spend money. Rob, anything you want to add to this?
No, I did already, but it's just an amazing thing. It's amazing.
It's a victory for player development, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, again, it is important for player development for sure, and that's why Rob, I gave you the last word on. I know what the Yankees and how they develop players for sure.
Oh yeah.
So you want to talk about a guy who's the competitor, and let's talk about a guy by the name of Blake Snell. Here's what he tells his manager, Dave Roberts. Please keep me in. Was what he told him before finishing 7 scoreless innings against the Philadelphia Eagles, which wasn't the case when he played for the Kevin Cash and the Tampa Bay Rays. So my question to everybody here is, find me a better competitor than Blake Snell out there, because this guy got robbed, pun intended, Rob, when he was with the Tampa Bay Rays, and he's obviously doing well with the Dodgers.
Well, Blake's biggest problem for a long time, he's got the reputation of being a 5 and fly guy, where he really, for the most part, for a while there, only only would pitch 5 innings, and then they come and take them. I mean, the Rays are very analytical too. They, I think that's ultimately what hurt them in the World Series in 2020 when he's going, and they were trying to stick to stick to their script where they like have him go X amount of innings, even though he's dominating, which granted ended up being a mistake, but that the Rays kind of play the numbers. And excuse me. But now, now I think he's figured out how to last longer, which is good.
All right, now we'll turn over to Rob.
Yeah, I think I don't think Roberts, he would have let Roberts take him out of that game this time, I think they would have to drag him off of the field. But Eric's right. He was about a 5-inning guy. He figured it out, and there was no way he wanted to leave that game. No way.
George?
Yeah, I mean, he's a competitor. He's been around the game a long time. He's 32 years old, but man, oh man, in that situation, you want to be, like you said, the competitor that you are. That instinct is, hey, I want to finish it. Don't take me anywhere. And, and I can't knock a ball player for that at all. I mean, when you're a professional pitcher and now you're with the top team in baseball, the Dodgers, he's really done a great job. And yeah, he has adjusted his game. No question about it. He's really, trying to accomplish something that everybody wants to do, and that's repeat as champions, the Dodgers. But Blake is a good player. I mean, I always liked him. I followed his career. I mean, mostly in the National League, but he really has his head screwed on right. I really think so. He's a good ball player, good pitcher.
Well, let's not kid ourselves. Dave Roberts, a heck of a manager. I have no problem with managers that are deep in analytics. We all know A.J. Hinch is definitely one of those.
Oh, yeah.
But all he does is win. He has a World Series in his pocket. Kevin Cash, I think, will win a World Series somewhere. I don't know if it'll be with Tampa. I don't know what's going to happen with the ownership situation. I agree, Eric. But we won't throw that out there tonight. We'll leave it for later on. But Kevin Cash is a heck of a manager. But Dave Roberts is one of those guys. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Grady Little. I'll tell you why. Because I met Grady Little in Vero Beach, and we talked about Pedro Martinez, and all he told me is, I don't second guess that decision because Pedro's on the big stage. When I heard the big stage coming from Grady Little with the Dodgers, I was convinced, and I was glad that Dave went out there and did what he did. Candy, have you talked about this one yet? Good, you are now.
Snell was selected by the Rays in the first round of the 2011 Major League Draft. He made his Major League debut in 2016. He won the American League Cy Young Award in 2018 when he was an all-star and led the league in both wins and earned run average. The Rays then traded him to the Padres before the 2021 season, only for him to win his second Cy Young Award in 2023. He also signed with the Giants last year and threw his first no-hitter on August 2nd against the Cincinnati Reds. Now he's with the Dodgers. The one thing I'm going to say, because I was a pitcher back in the day for softball, a pitcher knows when you're on and when you're hot. Like, if you have your stuff. And if you have your stuff, you don't want to come out. You don't. If if it's just not, you're just not feeling it, then you know. And if he comes out and says, take me out, you're like, okay. But if you're hot, leave a pitcher in. I don't care what analytics say.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
I was going to say Max Scherzer. I think the best pitcher in the league at doing that is actually Max Scherzer. The guy's just so aware where he's at, probably more aware than any other pitcher in baseball. I mean, everywhere he's gone, he knows he's called his own game. He knows how to take himself out. And obviously when he's off, he's off and he knows it. I mean, Max is just that smart of a pitcher. I mean, that's why he was dominant for so long. It's why I know he will be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, now that Candy even let the cat out of the bag about a no-hitter reference, although we won't say that was what I was going to talk about. We'll talk about the one we always talk about, a no-hitter, and the one I'm going to throw at you occurred on August 13th, 1969. A guy that played October baseball, Jim Palmer, tosses a no-hitter against the Oakland A's only 4 days after being activated from the disabled list, 8-0. Rob, I know you talked about the Oakland A's, but we're not talking about the 70s version, but back in 69, Jim Palmer threw the gem. In your mind, where do you feel Jim Palmer, Rob, stands amongst the greatest pitchers in baseball?
Oh, he's right up there. I mean, I was lucky enough to see him pitch at Yankee Stadium in the 70s. So Jim Palmer's right up there. He, a great Orioles pitcher for a long time. So yeah, I rate him right up there.
George.
Yeah, I would have to also rate him up pretty high, Scott. 1969, Baltimore gave Detroit all they could handle and then some. The Tigers had that World Series in '68, of course, but boy, Baltimore, and he was at the top of his game already, that young age. What a great pitching staff. And then Palmer, it doesn't surprise me at all, being one of the no hitters to his credit. He was one of those pitchers that really, really didn't want to face. I know we talked a lot about Nolan Ryan in previous weeks, but Palmer, he was great. He mowed down the Tigers. He mowed down a lot of teams in the American League. He had some great pitching repertoire, and I'll tell you what, take nothing away from him. So, hats off to Jim Palmer, and thanks for bringing that up from 1969. Yeah.
I talk about no hitters. I don't care where they come, who's on the show. That's a segment we do every weekend. That's one we're going to continue to do as long as I have them. Candy?
Palmer missed 6 weeks of the 1969 season due to a torn back muscle. But returned to the Orioles rotation in August. The significance, it was the only no-hitter of his career. It was also the last win in his 8-game winning streak at the time. Ironically, the other stat that Jim Palmer has, he never surrendered a grand slam home run.
Wow.
Nor did he ever allow back-to-back homers either.
That's even
God.
bigger.
Yeah, that is incredible research, Candy.
Yep.
That's great, Candy.
Great
Good
research
job.
on your part, Candy.
Thanks.
All right, well, everybody comment on this?
No.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, Jim Palmer's one. You were spoiled during the '60s there with the amount of pitchers you had going that time with Gibson, Seaver, and Jim Palmer. I mean, Ron Guidry. You were
Denny McClain, Mickey Lolich. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
You were,
all right.
y'all were spoiled during that time.
Well, Bob Gibson. I don't know about Guidry came later, but
right. I just realized that. Yeah.
That's
But
all right, though.
people forget too. He was a really good fielder too. He won 4 straight Gold Gloves in like the mid to late '70s. And, he's up there, though. I mean, he is like one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He's a Hall of Famer. He's very deserving of it. He was on all 3 Baltimore Orioles championship teams. And, I'm pretty sure he's still with the team today as a broadcaster. So, he's still around, though. But, man, nobody could fling it in there like Jim Palmer could. I mean, he's up there though. He's at least at the very least is in the top 10, if not like the top 5, and some could argue the top 3. But during the '60s, that was y'all were spoiled with pitchers, great pitchers during that time.
All right. Well, the one thing everybody's mentioned on this panel, we know what a heck of a pitcher he was. But did you want to add something to it, Eric? Or
No.
you good?
He was a good hitter.
No.
No?
Everybody missed out on this. Okay. The guy is known for jockey underwear commercials.
That's right. Yeah.
Jockey underwear. We're talking about beer tonight. We're talking about light beer. We're talking about Bobby. We're talking about jockey underwear. Only on this program can I mention jockey underwear. Yes. All right, jockey underwear. Write me a check because I promoted your brand tonight. Okay. And if you don't send me a bunch of new ones, when I run out of the other ones, my business associate here and my everything will make sure we get it. Jockey underwear, you owe me a check. Write it up, Jim Palmer. I need some residuals there. Well, Ichiro talked about Nolan Ryan. Now we're going to do it. We do this every week anyway, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So in Nolan Ryan, in addition to 7 no-hitters, Nolan Ryan threw 12 one-hitters, and he tied with Bob Feller for the most since at least 1901, and 18 two-hitters. Okay, Rob, I mean, let's get real here, man. The guy had 7 no-hitters, okay? He had 12 one-hitters, and tied with Bob Feller for the most since 1901 and 18 two-hitters. Man, this doesn't get any better than that, does it?
Amazing. But, I have to go through the pain every time you mention Nolan Ryan. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. And you'll go through it another 6, 7, 8 more times when I bring it up, and I don't mind you doing it.
The Mets had him. That's all I got to say. Fregosi,
All right.
man, what a bad trade. You know what else, real quick? George, that was a bad trade. You know what other trade was bad for the Mets? Trading Rusty Saab for Mickey Lolich, because he was done by then.
The Mets have a lot of them, actually.
Yeah,
well, we
yeah.
know that.
And
Yeah.
Scott's interviewed Mickey Lolich in the last couple of years. Remember, Scott? And
Oh, yeah.
he had quite of a career, but not so much with the Mets, but the Tigers. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for mentioning that, George. You can actually find that interview now that you mentioned it, George, on the South Florida Tribune. I think Candy, we have it someplace, don't we? We got the Lolich interview from my old colleague Peter Ween. If not, I'm almost sure, but we'll find it somewhere.
I want to hear that.
Yeah, you know what, Rob? As soon as we get it, we'll see if we can come up with it for you. I'm sure we have it someplace. But go ahead.
You want me to
Okay. I went already. Eric didn't go.
All right, go ahead, Candy.
Sorry.
Eric can go.
Mark.
That's okay. Eric
Well, now I'm confused. Who wants to go? You
Go
want me
for
to
it,
go?
Eric.
Okay, fine. Okay, well, I was going to comment on Rob saying, well, Jerry Koosman worked out pretty well too during that time. So I wouldn't, and also Nolan Ryan wasn't Nolan Ryan at that point. So
Right.
I wouldn't put too much thought into it. You're looking at in hindsight. But he's the greatest pitcher of all time. I mean, we can go on and on about him. He pitched for a long time and was dominant for a long time. I know the second George Bush had a poster of him in the Oval Office, which and that's what, and I'm pretty sure he was actually the second George Bush's favorite baseball player. But again, greatest pitcher of all time. He's dominant, and the list goes on and on with what he accomplished.
Okay, now you go ahead, Candy.
So Ryan, you might not know this. Ryan's lifetime batting average of 204 is also a major league record. He recorded 300 strikeouts in a season 6 different times. He is one of 6 pitchers inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame who had more strikeouts than innings pitched.
Hey, Candy, if you get out of control of this, I will mute you. Stay on point or I'm going to take you off this segment. Don't you understand? Week in and week out, I have new stuff on him. Stop the research on Ryan
but
and
I thought you said
Suzuki.
this was the last week of him.
No, it isn't. I got more.
Okay.
You know what? Mute yourself and do it when you come out with Suzuki before you ruin it. Really? Seriously? Really? I don't have to deal with you later. Don't matter. Don't ruin Ryan and Suzuki.
Careful, Scott.
I don't care in this situation. Research is great, not when you go out there and kill it.
So he's tied with Bob Feller for most one-hitters with 12.
Good. You're done before you ruin it. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay. Don't worry. Suzuki's next. Stay on point. A few more topics to go. Who's left?
I have a comment. I'm left. Think about that for a second, sports fans. Think about that. 12 one-hitters. So not only 7 career no-hitters, and then you're only 1 away in 12 other games. And like you mentioned, Scott, 18 two-hitters he pitched. Just an incredible record. Those numbers are phenomenal. Nobody's ever going to pitch like that, match those numbers. And, it's just an incredible stat. I mean, the stats just keep on coming with this guy, don't they? But,
He's one. And they will it. And they will every week.
Okay. Very good. I applaud. No, there's nothing more I can say. I mean, this is just incredible stuff. 7 no-nos and 12 almost no-nos and 18 two-hitters. Oh my God.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Why everybody that this guy got in with 98, 99% of the vote because of numbers like this. So they're unbreakable numbers for sure. All right. Well, let's stay on Suzuki so that Candy is going to go first. Okay. This time you are going to go first. Now I have to make you first on these things so you don't have time realize you got people behind me. I'm learning on every show, people. I promise you, I am learning. Ichiro Suzuki, his career is a 311 batting average, leads all major league players accrued with at least 5,000 plate appearances and debuted in 2000. So, Candy, 311 career batting average. That's surreal.
That's great. Great hitter. What else do you want me to say? Because I can't say anything else because I might ruin everything. So 311 is a great batting average. Good job.
Well, say a little more. You can say a little bit more. Just don't go deep into the research, okay? But yeah, 311 is pretty surreal when you go out there and talk about a guy hitting over 300 for sure. Okay, Rob.
It's great. 311. What more could I say about him? You know, what do I say every week? One vote. Who is that one vote?
Yeah,
That's what I say every week.
But you know what? I want you to keep saying that every week as long as we got Suzuki. That's okay. I don't mind repetition, especially when it comes to that, because that was absurd. Eric?
I mean, best hitter of my generation. There's no shock that he finished above 300. Because you know, I saw him play a zillion times when I was growing up. I mean, baseball during that time, we were pretty spoiled with what we had going on then too.
George?
Yeah, 311 is phenomenal, isn't it? Oh my gosh. You know, he led the league twice, I think it was, in batting, American League leader in batting. But when you look at that consistency, and that's what jumps out at me when you mention figures, Scott, like 311, this is just incredible stuff. I mean, you can't make that up. This guy is just over the top as far as the talent. And then, like we talked about before, of course, it all started in Japan with those great teams he had over there. And continued on in the American League. Just an unbelievable hitter. Really concentrates all the time, gives you 1,000% every time. But that 311, that's awesome. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. So let's talk about, go back to the Milwaukee Brewers. I really love this one. This is just unbelievable. Okay, well, we're going to go to the fielders. Okay. Prince Fielder was actually a cornerstone of the Milwaukee Brewers, helping them to the 2011 NLCS, their deepest playoff run during his tenure. He's the son of Cecil Fielder, a former MLB slugger who had 319 home runs, primarily with the Tigers. Both have 319 career home runs. He retires at age 32 due to severe neck injuries that required 2 spinal fusion surgeries. And I'm going to tell you one thing, and on August 10th, 2016, he announces his early retirement. So, Candy, you lived it with Prince Fielder, and of course, George and I lived it with Cecil and a little bit of Prince. What are your best recollections of Prince Fielder, Candy?
He hit for power. He was a 6-time All-Star. He holds the Brewers team record for home runs and runs batted in a season and is the youngest player in National League history to hit 50 home runs in a season. He became the first Brewer to win the Home Run Derby, defeating Nelson Cruz in the final round of the 2009 Derby. He also won the 2012 Derby, joining Ken Griffey Jr. as the only players to win more than one Derby and becoming the first player to win Derby as both an American League and National League All-Star. It's just too bad that he had to end his career due to the neck surgery. But he was a fan favorite. He still was. He came back for the home run hitting contest this year. He was born in Melbourne, Florida. He was exciting to watch. That Brewer team, that Brewers around that. I mean, they've been exciting for me for years, but that was a special group.
George?
Yeah, I mean, the Tigers did have him for a couple of seasons, as you mentioned, Scott, earlier. Most of his career was in Milwaukee, and then he wrapped things up with the Texas Rangers. And, you know, supposedly there's a falling out between him and his dad, but this is a cute story. They said that Prince came along at Tiger Stadium when his father played for Detroit, of course, for batting practice. And Fielder actually Prince hit a home run off of Terry Francona in
Really?
pitching in batting practice into the upper deck of Tiger Stadium when he was 12 years old.
Wow.
I mean, and I can remember those, and I'm sure you do too, Scott. Those times when we'd see Prince as as a bat boy, or like we said here in this example, actually take a batting practice. And he didn't have a long career in Detroit, but boy, oh boy, was he a vital part of that team. And it is sad that he had to give things up at age 32, I believe it was. But that was a great time. Everybody was swinging for the fences, including this young man. Really a great career.
Well, you talked the fact that it was traded to Texas, where Ian Kinsler was the other player received in the trade.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Had a
All
good
right, so
career.
Eric, go ahead, Eric.
Well, I mean, I remember him. The guy hit a bunch of Titanic home runs during his time in Milwaukee. I mean, how could you not? I mean, people were having debates whether it was between him and Pujols for the best first baseman in the National League at that point in time. But people forget too, we also helped the Brewers end their postseason drought in 2000. I think it was 2008. And he helped them get to the postseason that year as a wild card team. I mean, by that point, it had been like 20 plus years since the Brewers had last made the playoffs, which granted, the league had changed a lot since that time. Like majority of that time, the wild card wasn't really a thing, but nevertheless, he helped them get back in there, which was huge. I mean, I think he would have been a Hall of Famer had he stayed healthy.
Excellent point, because if you're going to say that, we'll believe that Don Mattingly would have been one too. So go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think he was headed to the Hall of Fame. It's a shame the injuries ended his career way too short. He was way too young. But he was one of the, another one of those father-son combos. Hitting is in that family's genes. But there's been a bunch of father-son combos, some not so great, but This was a great combo. Like you could also say like the Griffeys were, but this was another great combo. It's just a shame that his career was was so short, because he was a great hitter. He would have been in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, everybody made great points on this. There's no question that. Go ahead, Candy.
One last thing. Prince Fielder served as the hitting coach for the American League team in last year's All-Star Futures Game 2024.
Oh, really? Great point.
I think his son's becoming a pretty good ball player himself too.
Oh, has he?
I think so. Yeah. I think you'll see him. Trust me, you will see him.
Great point, Eric. Candy. Excellent stuff. All right, final topic of the night. We'll give you something to look forward to next year. And when I say next year, here's what we've got. When the 2026 regular season schedule, the key dates are opening night, the New York Yankees take on San Francisco on March 25th. March 26th, opening day, April 5th, and then on April 15th, you have Jackie Robinson Day. Yep. All 30 teams will be in action then. May 15th to the 17th, you have Rivalry Weekend. Yep. June 2nd, Lou Gehrig Day. All 30 teams will be in action there. June 8th through the 14th, the A's are going to host back-to-back series over at Las Vegas Ballpark. July 4th, all 30 teams will be in action. And I think this is one that'll probably hit closer to home for you, Rob. On September 11th, New York Yankees against the Mets, 25th anniversary of 9/11. And Roberto Clemente Day is on September 15th. All 30 teams will be in action. And, of course, September 27th, which I figure is probably the last game of the year, all 30 teams will be in action. So with that said, a lot of dates to look at. Rob, which one stands out?
Well, the 9/11 one, of course. I mean,
yeah.
25th anniversary, very somber. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of the guys from those teams. They're going to have, of course, all the EMS, NYPD, FDNY there, of course. They're also probably going to have the guys from the Mets and Yankees from there. Piazza hit that iconic home run when they came back. So that one, of course. And I just wanted to make a quick note. That Yankee opening, the opening game for the beginning of the season, that's actually going to be on Netflix. All right. Netflix is going to start having games next season. And that game will be on Netflix as the first game on Netflix.
Great information, Rob. Go ahead, Candy.
I think I like the fact that they're going to have some days that all of the teams are on. That's kind of cool. I like the fact that obviously the one that stands out is going to be 9/11 because I can't believe it's been 25 years since that day. That we all liked what happened the next day, September 12th, but we won't go into that. But I like the fact that they have some days that all of the teams are playing the same day, because that gives all the fan bases chances to, see different teams on a given day, like July 4th. Like what's more July 4th in American than, baseball? Baseball, a hot dog eating contest, I'm sure. And, what else?
Yeah.
Probably Joey Chestnut, right?
Yes, probably.
But those are key dates. I like that. That's kind of cool. And I like the fact that they're going to do the New York, the subway, series during that September 11th. So that'll be memorable.
Eric?
Easily the 9/11 game. That hits home for a lot of New Yorkers and people across the Hudson River in New Jersey, just given just how close proximity it was. You're right, Rob?
Yeah, good.
Okay. But yeah, but it's going to be great. Bring back all those guys from the 01 teams, whether it be Derek Jeter, Mike Piazza, or Robin Ventura, Ray Ordonez. Bring them all back. It's going to be great. A great way to celebrate, a great way to kind of bring New York together, and hopefully it just takes away the rivalry a little bit and kind of focuses it on more just a baseball game, celebrate, in terms of celebrating, I wouldn't say an awful moment, but the resilience of the country.
Rob, did you want to add something to that? Go ahead.
No, that's he said it great, Eric. That was great.
Yep.
Okay. George?
Yeah, I agree with you guys on everything that's been said about 9/11, but I'm really looking forward to that All-Star game. That game was awarded to Philadelphia way back in 2019, because as you guys know, the United States is celebrating 250 years in 2026. So they wanted to make sure that Philadelphia bid on that All-Star game, and they hosted the one in 1976 when America celebrated its bicentennial. So that little bit of trivia, they're going to be the host of the All-Star game, and I think it's going to be fabulous and commemorates, like I said, that 1976 game. And I'll never forget that one because Mark the Bird Fidrich, remember, Scott? He pitched in that All-Star game for the American League back in Philadelphia, back in the spirit of 76. So I'm looking forward to that All-Star game in Philly coming up in July.
I will say one thing about Ichiro. You have your good moments and your bad moments, but you saved your best act for last. Coming up with the fact that don't get cocky and arrogant. Just take a compliment, because then you'll get off track again. I know how you operate anyway. But no, I'm glad he mentioned this. It was actually pretty good. Mark Fidrich in 1976 on bicentennial. Now he puts 2026 in his perspective. Great stuff, Ichiro. Okay, just take this as some of the few compliments you get on here, but don't let it get to your head. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but as far as I'm concerned, the 9/11 one to me is one that's going to stand out. Now, a little story about me. Okay, that my boy here, Eric, I realized I have my second wife and my soulmate, but that was the day that I was actually having to see my attorney over in Mesa, Arizona, and he said, "Did you hear what happened today?" No. You watch the news? Yeah. Well, here's what happened. Because here's the reason, and I won't mention the attorney's name. I'm driving to see you. How am I going to know what's on with the news? That's how I found out about 9/11. But I don't think you can have any better teams than the Mets and the Yankees playing this game. And the irony is this: at that time, I was living in Arizona, and I was pulling for the Diamondbacks to beat the Yankees at the time.
Yeah.
Because that was the Diamondbacks' first World Championship.
Forget you, Scott.
Huh?
Forget you, Scott.
Yeah, I know. Forget me that day. I had to root for the local team. It wasn't anything against the Yankees. So I have the utmost of great memories of them because I grew up in that organization. Don Mattingly and all the other people I've come across. I really, really have.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I did grow up in that organization. I really, really did.
You did. Yes, you did.
But I just wanted the Diamondbacks to win. But let me tell you, my heart went out to everybody on 9/11. I brought on Ernie Harwell as a guest one time for a radio show that I did out in the metropolitan Phoenix area that I was part of a auto racing show. And I used to bring in some off-the-wall topics in there. My co-host didn't mind it. And they got to meet some interesting people. So let me run a little bit. It worked out pretty good. Great show tonight. I know we're obviously have Monday Night Football. We're dealing with playoff baseball. So for those of you that have or haven't seen it live, no problem. We have plenty of it there. And hopefully you'll have an opportunity to go ahead catch all of this or some of this. I have a lot of great playoff information and looking to do more baseball shows and other shows throughout the week. With that said, Candy, why don't you give a station break while everybody bow out tonight? Go ahead, Candy.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and the foreword is written by George Eichhorn and other panelists tonight. They both did an amazing job. Get your copy today. It talks about media and how media has changed over the last 40 years. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where you can find a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, click it, like us, share us, and then tell all your friends and family, and then turn the notifications on so you're notified every time we go live, because you don't want to miss. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights, you never know what's up. Scott's Bag of Tricks on Sports Exchange. And he's got a new series starting Wednesday night, so make sure you're tuning in. Thursday night is Fire Up, and sometimes Scott does a one-on-one show as well. The Motor City Madmouth show. He's doing one this week is another don't miss episode. So, and then of course, I can't forget Saturday mornings baseball talk, talking baseball as well. If you want to advertise, call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas and you're not in our chat room, honestly, you should be in the chat room. But if you can't, email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Just an update. It is in the bottom of the fourth, and the Brewers are up 4-3, just as a score update.
Any update on the Monday night game, Candy?
Let me quick do it. It is still 21-21 with 10:02 left in the fourth, with the Jaguars having the ball against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, well, all right, George, go ahead, Eric.
We have an update with the Brewers game. Jackson Churro just blasted a 3-run home run, 7-3 Brewers.
Correct.
Oh,
Okay,
my.
there you go. Jackson Churro, this kid's a stud. I like this kid. All right, I'll let you keep talking, Eric. Let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
You can follow me on my Twitter at Sports Team News, and you can check out my blog at BellyOutSports.com, where I write about all things baseball. If you think I don't like your team, I probably don't.
You like mine.
I do. I've said nice things about them. I've written plenty about the Brewers this year.
I know.
I can only imagine. All right, boy wonder, keep it up. You do a great job across the board, Eric. I'm proud of you, kiddo. All right, Eichhorn, let everybody know how. He'll be on with me Wednesday night, by the way.
Yeah, looking forward to that, Scott, on Wednesday night. I'm also a writer in the South Florida Tribune. I have a book entitled Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. Oh, there's a copy of the book with Bud Lynch on the cover and Gordie Howe. How's that? Oh, thank you for the cover shot. But at the end of the column, there's a link to Amazon if you want to purchase the book. Appreciate that. I know Eric's got a copy of it. Of course, I know Candy and Scott. And I'm waiting for Rob.
I'm gonna go check it out tonight. Actually, definitely.
Yeah, and you can reach me at gicorn@yahoo.com or Twitter on SanGSports99. I'm also on LinkedIn and other social platforms as well.
All right, Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, Friday night. Friday night at 10 p.m. NY MLB Talk. We will be live. I'll announce the guests this week. We're working on somebody, so we'll have that announcement Friday night, 10 p.m.
Yeah.
All right, well, go ahead, Candy. Why don't you give them a preview of what we could be doing on Thursday, or do you want to wait? Well, we'll wait a little bit.
I said that there's a special show going to be happening Thursday night. It's your Motor City Mad Mouse show, I believe, is what you're doing. Is that what you're doing?
Oh yeah, I know where you're going. Yeah, well, yeah, I've got a good one here is one for the ages. So hang with me. But I'll tell you what, I'll give you a clue. It's not sports related. I'll just say
it's
that.
Going to be, and let's just say it's going to be entertaining.
There you go. There's your little teaser. With that
Yep.
said, I want to wish our manager, Mickey Callaway, hope he feels a little bit better under the weather. Look forward to hopefully having him next Monday night and hopefully Saturday, but health first. That's all that matters to my skipper. So with that said, on behalf of Rob, Candy, Eric, George, and myself, the Motor City Madmouth, I want to thank you for joining us on this edition of 108 Pitches Baseball Talk. Get ready for Inside the Pigskin tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. A lot of football to talk about, and it's an awful lot of upsets that occurred in college football. We'll get to quite a few of those. Anything else you want to add, Eric?
Nope.
All
I'm
right.
all good here.
That does it. All right. With that said, on behalf of our group, we want to say thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next Monday night, and we'll have more updates on the MLB playoffs. Take care, George. Have a good time.
Thank you.
I believe tomorrow, right? Is that when you're going to be there?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
And
4
then you're
o'clock.
going to be there, Wednesday as well?
Wednesday will be 3 o'clock. Yes, sir.
All right. So Ichoro's going to be at the ballpark, Comerica Park. That is. So with that said,
Have fun.
that does it for us tonight, and we will see you next week on 108 Pitches Baseball Talk. Good night, everybody.